Hi everyone. It was nice meeting you today. We covered a couple of slides, actually not couple, more than a couple of slides, the first chapter. And I thought just to prepare this quick video for you to go over the rest of slides so you can watch it and let me know if you have any question. So quickly in Unit 1, we said that Unit 1 covers operation management fundamentals, operation as a process, 4 Vs, the performance objective, and operation strategy. Here I'm just trying to tell you how fashionable is the field of operation management. You can see the largest percentage of consultancy service market goes to operation and process management, 31%. It's very important. It's about improving process, improving efficiency, improving effectiveness, and meeting customer values. So operations are relevant to everything, back office operation and the manufacturing and service and retail. It's everywhere. So as we discussed today, operation is a process. It has input, a process, output. In terms of input, we have two types of input: transformed input that includes material, information, customer; transforming input, facilities and staff. And we have two different types of output: the product and surface, tangible, intangible. Remember the pizza example. Pizza example, input could include cheese, flour, pepperoni, meat, all this. This is raw material. And also information about the order, information about customer requirements, recipes. Customer, as we discussed, is part of the input, but it's relevant to surface operation. Transforming input include facility staff. And process, we have a process to transform raw material, process to transform information, and process to transform customer. That's relevant, as we discussed today, to small, big organization, product, service, profit, non-for-profit. So if operation is a process, this process can be broken down to into sub-processes, or we could look at a higher level. So this process is part also of a bigger process. So the bigger process, it is the industry process. I mean, business to business relationship. This is a supply network. If we talk about company or within the company, it is operation. Correct. We will expand on this later on. The 4V, very important, very important. And let me here stress that the way you need to remember this is a volume of the output, not the input. So McDonald's, the output of McDonald's is meals. So the volume of meals, correct? Variety of output, variation in demand for the output, and visibility. So we discussed this. This is the overall model of operation management. So input, output, and here the key activities. And each of these activities will be discussed in detail in this course. Okay, so chapter 2, which we have not discussed so far, it talks about operation performance. When I talk about performance, what does mean performance? What is performance? Everyone will see performance differently. Performance can be, can be viewed from a sustainability perspective, okay, or from a stakeholder perspective, or corporate social responsibility perspective, or customers value perspective. In this course, in operation management, okay, we will see performance as 5 performance objectives. So we need to be very precise. So when we use word performance, it's not just a just a general term. Performance is about 5 performance objectives. It's about quality, being right, about speed, about dependability, about flexibility, about cost. These are the performance objectives. So performance again is quality, speed, dependability, flexibility, and cost. And each of these performance objective will have different meanings in different organizations. So, for example, quality in pizza operation. What's a quality in pizza operation? It could be the test of pizza. That's different from quality in local cafeteria. That's different from the way we understand quality in education. So each of these performance objectives will have different meanings, depends on the process that you are analyzing. This is why the first step in any analysis is to define first the process, the input, output. Within that process, then we will discuss each of these performance objectives. A very simple but a powerful technique to analyze performance objective called polar diagram. In the polar diagram, it's used to indicate the relative importance of each performance objective to an operation or process. So again, here you can see the whole idea is first to define a process, then we try to discuss each of these performance objectives. Now we can graphically assess each performance objective, correct? So let's see here, for example, cost, speed, quality, flexibility, dependability. So we can say, well, we can compare between the performance of one operation relevant to another operation. Here's an example how we use polar diagram to compare performance between taxi and bus. For example, this is a performance objectives in a bus surface. This is compared to a taxi surface. It's only an example. Okay, so what we can use this technique to compare between existing performance and required performance, and that is what you can use in your assignment, because there is a question in your assignment to assess performance. So basically you can use this diagram to say, well, the existing performance, it looks like this, and the required performance looks like this, and here you can define the gap between required and existing. Now, you can see you can't offer everything. You can't always, well, try to improve quality, offer best quality, best speed, lowest cost, and more flexibility and more dependability. There's always trade-off. And so you need to trade off between these performance objectives. No such things as a free lunch, correct? And here's the topic of operation strategy, and that is the chapter 3. And here, before I go to the chapter 3, I just wanted to talk a little bit about this, and I will explain more about the trade-off and how we build operation strategy in the next slide. But just at this point, I just want to say that you all operation managers, and somehow I look at your bio, you're managing a process. This process produce an output. There is always trade-off, and you need to know what is your priority always. The priority itself is called operation strategy. I'm going to discuss this in a few slides. So again, the general model of operation is operation management. It's about input, about process, and now we would like to discuss operation strategy. Okay, so before going into that details, there's a section in the textbook about the role of operation. So operation can implement business strategy, operation could support business strategy, operation could drive business strategy. So it could be three of us. So it could implement and support and drive business strategy at the same time. So it depends on how strong your operation is. So it could play different roles. Based on that, there is a very important model called four-stage model which can be used to assess operation contribution. So the model is about four stages. So and it depends on the role of operation. If operation is holding organization back, as you can see, so it's kind of internally neutral. This operation is kind of a neutral. It doesn't really add any value, and in a best situation, it's just does not create a lot of problems. So it's kind of internal and neutral. But if the operation is as good as competitors, then we can say, well, this operation start to adopt best practice and as good as other competitors. That means the operation here, it's implementing the strategy because it is a good operation. But if the operation is the best in the industry, okay, so this operation is capable even to support business strategy, is to move to change business strategy. If the operation is unique in the way it refines industry expectation, here we can say this operation is driving business strategy, which is here we can say it's externally supportive. Okay, this is an important model, and there is a question about it in the discussion this week. So operation strategy. There's also a question about operation strategy. And before going into the operation strategy and discussing what is operation strategy, just would like to let you know this is a very important topic. A very, very important topic. There will be always a question about operation strategy in your assignment, in your case studies, in your final exam. Very, very important. So what is operation strategy? Basically, operation strategy, it's a priority of the 5 performance objectives. That's the simplest way to explain the essence of operation strategy. So operation strategy is a priority of the 5 performance objective. That is a priority of quality, speed, dependability, flexibility, and cost. What is your priority? Is it cost? Is it quality? Is it dependability? That is the operation strategy. Now, there are a number of decisions that's part of this strategy. And these decisions, we can divide them as a structural decision, infrastructural decision. And this decision, we're going to discuss it over the whole course. So this decision about the type of input, is about the design of the operation, is about the policy, the planning, the improvement. All these decisions, okay, is part of operation strategy. But before making this decision, you need to have a guideline. The guideline is your operation strategy. It's a priority. You need to define your priority. Your priority in terms of cost, speed, dependability, flexibility, and quality. So how would you define the priority of the 5 performance objectives? A very important model here, a very, very important model. We call it a 4 perspective model. We need to define the priority from 4 different perspectives: top down, bottom up, market requirement, operational requirement. Top down perspective: what the business wants the operation to do. So assume that you are operation officer, okay, and you need to define your priority. Certainly, the first thing you will do, you're going to talk with your boss, correct? What's your priority? Where you want me to focus? Is that correct? And that is at the level of one process. But if you are managing a larger operation, basically you need to have a company strategy, and company strategy is a competitive strategy, correct? So it's either cost leadership or differentiation or focus or whatever you will describe it. Okay, you need to be aware what is your strategic context, and based on this strategic context you will drive your priority. And that's only one perspective though. That's a top-down perspective. And here you can see the top-down perspective. So you need to understand the different levels of strategy: corporate strategic decision, business strategy decision, and that will inform the functional strategy, which is operational strategy, correct? So you will need to understand how the company strategy, vision, mission, strategy, strategic objective can be cascaded down to the operation. And based on that, you will define your priority from that perspective. The second perspective is a bottom-up perspective of operation strategy, which is based on day-to-day operation. Correct, guys? So basically, people work in the operation. They understand how the work is being done in the operation, and over time, they will have a sense of what the priority should look like. And that is another perspective that you need to be aware of, which is basically employee opinions. The people who are involved in the operation, what is their opinion about the priority? Market requirement perspective. In terms of market requirement perspective, we can divide market requirements into three different categories: customer requirement, product life cycle, and competitors. So you need to understand what are the customer requirements. And based on that, you will prioritize the performance objective. You need to understand product life cycle, and you need to understand your competitors and what they are doing. And based on that, you will also prioritize your performance objectives. So let me start with customer requirement. So with customer requirement. Correct. So if customers, for example, value low price, then your priority will be cost. If customer value high quality, then your priority is quality. And again, remember, it's how you define quality. So you need to be clear, how would you define quality in the context of the process? Okay, so these are some examples of customer values and how these values can be translated into performance objectives. Now, not all customer requirements will be considered important. Some of them are very important, some of them are less important, some of them are even less important. So some of these requirements are order-winning requirements, which are very, very important. Any improvement in these requirements will improve the product overall competitiveness. Okay, some of these requirements are qualifying factors, so they need to be good to a certain limit, and that is fine. Okay, and some of them are less important. Let me give you example. So consider any product you buy. Okay, let's consider for example a sandwich you buy from a local cafeteria. What are those factors that made you buy the sandwich? Is it the quality of the sandwich? Is it the price of the sandwich? It is the variety that you can choose from, or maybe the location. It's the only place available in your neighborhood. So it is in the closest place. So these factors which made you choose, which made you purchase the product, are the order winning factors, correct? So let's assume, just for example here, to make example, that you bought a sandwich because of its quality, but not because of the price. So the price of the sandwich is important to you, but to a certain extent. I mean, let's assume the price of the sandwich is, let's say, $10. Okay, so if the price change, and look at this here, if the price change a little bit, that will not influence your decision. If the price become, let's say, $9, will not influence your decision. If the price become, let's say, suddenly $5, well, that will really be very attractive, and then that will be the key reason why you will buy the sandwich. But so if the price within a certain range, let's say between 8 and 10, that will have no direct impact on your decision, and that is a qualifying factors. Now, the less important factor, let's say the color of the packaging. Would you really care? Maybe, but that will be less important factors. So from a customer point of view, there are specific requirements that are very, very important. You need to be clear about these requirements, which are the order winning factors, and they are requirements that can be described as qualifying factor, and they are factors that is less important factors. So let me come back to this. So market requirement, customer requirement. You need to understand what customer requirements are. And also then you need to understand what competitors are doing, and that will change your priority. If you are, let's say, operating a pizza shop, let's come back to the pizza shop, okay, and you are competing based on price, and as of sudden that there is a nearby shop offering pizza as well, it starts to compete with you based on price, then you need to change your operational priority accordingly. So competitors will certainly influence your performance objective. And finally, product life cycle. And here's the point: product life cycle is different from company life cycle. We're not talking about company life cycle, we're talking about product life cycle. And the product life cycle is measured by total sale in the industry, correct? So if the product is new, few people will buy this product, and there is no actual sale here. Only innovators. The customers are innovators who try this product, and for them, the likely order winning is about the quality of the product. It's about the novelty of the product. They don't care about price, correct? When, let's say, Google introduced Google Glasses, who bought this? Everyone? Not everyone. Only those innovators bought that product. So only few people, and there's basically few competitors in the market. So the focus here is in improving the quality and the flexibility, because it's a new product. You don't know exactly whether customer will like it, so you need to focus on flexibility. But as you're growing, and as you get more acceptance from customers, and your products start to be more attractive, so you will have more customer, which is early adopters, and the overall sale of that product will increase in the market, so more competitors will join. So you start to focus, your operation priority will change from flexibility, quality to speed, dependability. So you need to have that speed to ensure that you have enough production, enough output, so to satisfy customer. The next stage is mature, and in this stage where your products start to become like a standard product, and the market will be saturated, no new customers will join the market, and there will be a lot of competitors. So here the priority will shift from speed, dependability, quality to cost and dependability. So the focus here will be on cost, and that is for commodity product. If you are producing a commodity, certainly the focus will be on cost. The focus will be on the functionality of the product. And as there will be a new product, substitute product will replace your product, you start to go to a decline stage. And in the decline stage, you need to really be innovative. You need to keep the cost down and try to be innovative, try to innovate in a product to create another life cycle here. Hope this is clear. So again, let me get back to this. From a market requirement perspective, you need to understand customer requirement, product lifecycle, at what stage your product is, and your competitors. And that is one perspective. And the last perspective is a resource-based perspective. So basically, you need to know what you can produce. It is not about what customers want, it's about what you can. Okay, and that this depends on your resources. So resources can be sometimes a limited factor. So constraints, resource constraints that could constrain your capability to meet customer requirements. You need to be clear about your capability and what you can produce, and perhaps your resources can be a base to create another opportunity. So here's the difference between strategic fit and the strategy stretch. So your resources can be limited, so it is only allow you to produce exactly what customer wants. That's a fit, or can be an opportunity for you to stretch the market and create a new opportunity. All depends on the resources that you have. And resources here, you should understand that resources could include tangible resources like machines, like people, and intangible people experience. Okay, and knowledge in the company, or the processes itself, or how all these tangible resources are connected through processes. So you need to be clear about your operation. So basically, in that sense, you need to make sure that what you can offer will actually can meet some of the customer requirement. And here's the point of trying to always match between your resources and customer requirement. Getting back to the main slide here again. So what is operation strategy? Again, operation strategy in a simple word is a priority of the 5 performance objective. How would you define that priority? You need to understand the top-down perspective, market requirement perspective, bottom-up perspective, and operation resource perspective. Allow me here to I don't have a highlighter. Okay. I want to draw something on the board. I don't think I can do it with this program. But just quickly, again, let's assume, just for the sake of assumption here, that you are the operation manager of a bright industry. So if I'm asking you, what's your operation strategy? You will tell me, well, the company's strategy is, let's say, differentiation or cost leader. Accordingly, from a top-down perspective, I need to focus on cost. However, customer requirements are blah, 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 blah. Some of these requirements are order winning. Okay, so let's say in a bright industry, customer require a smaller size of the product. So it is about the flexibility a part of it. So from a customer point of view, perhaps flexibility is the priority. Okay, from a bottom up, what are the employee opinions? And from a resource, do I have a resource to fulfill customer requirement, or perhaps to provide a new product? Once you do this analysis, based on this analysis, then you will say, well, operation strategy, which is a priority of the 5 performance objective, should be quality, speed, dependability, whatever it is. Hope that explained the concept of operation strategy. Okay, hope this video helps. I'm gonna post this video today, and let me know if you have any question. Thank you.